Good morning again, class. Today we're going to take a look at the second part of this section on circles, and we're going to be taking a look at the circumference of a circle. The circumference of a circle is the formula C equals pi d, or C equals 2 pi r. Remember that d equals 2r, so if d equals 2r, that's the same thing here. So we just put in the 2 pi r, or 2 pi r. So it is the same thing, circumference then, and that's the measure around the circle. You remember that. So we're going to take a look at how can we apply that in the midst of this particular problem. It says a 2-foot wide circular track for a camera dolly is set up for a movie scene. The two rails of the track form concentric circles. Concentric circles are circles that have the same center point, different radiuses. The radius of the inner circle is 8 feet, as shown right there. The radius of the outer circle is 2 feet further, which would make that 10 feet. How much farther does a wheel on the outer circle travel than the wheel on the inner circle? And does it? Oh, is it a misnomer? Is it an urban legend that it doesn't travel any further? Actually, it does travel further, and we're going to show that. We're going to basically find the circumference for the outer circle, circumference of the outer circle, and subtract the circumference of the inner circle, and we'll find out what the difference is. Okay? Well, we already know that C equals 2 pi r. So all I have to do is find the circumference of the outer minus the circumference of the inner, and it should give me my answer. Well, if the outer has a radius, so radius, sorry about that, radius for the outer is 8 plus 2, which gives us 10. The circumference then would be 2 pi 10. And that's for the outer. The circumference for the inner would be 2 pi, and since our radius is just 8, then it would be 2 pi 8. So the circumference of the outer minus the circumference of the inner, bring that down here, would be 20 pi for the outer minus 16 pi for the inner, or 4 pi. My units is in feet. Okay, that doesn't really help us out, 4 pi feet. So if we took that and tried to get a guesstimate, an estimated guess, which would be a rounded version, that would be 4 times pi, or about 12.57 feet. So, does that outer set of wheels go further than the inner set? Yes, it does. Did you ever notice on the racetrack that cars wear out on the inside or the outside? They're going further, but the inside is grinding harder. Yeah, just think about it. Something, food for thought. Now here we have another one. Here's a car. Has a circular turning radius of 16.1 feet, and the distance between the two front tires is 4.7. So really what it's saying is the outer set of tires has a radius of 4.7, while the inner has a radius of 16.1. So if we take a look at the full, the outer would be 16.1 plus 4.7, or 20.8 feet. That would be the radius. So the circumference of that would be 2 times pi times 20.8. The inner would be 2 pi times 16.1, which would give me a dimension of 41.6 pi for the outer, minus 32.2 for the pi for the inner. And if you subtract those, we're going to get, let's see, 6 minus 2 gives us 4, carry the 1, 11, 9.4 pi, and that's in feet. 9.4 pi feet, which is approximately 29.53 feet. All right, arc length. Take a look at this next slide here. Arc length, the length of an arc of a circle. The length of this measure AB is the product of the ratio, the measure of the arc, divided by 360. And then that's times the circumference of the circle. So, looking at it as a crust line of a piece of pie, right? So, the measure around the crust of the piece of pie is you take that portion of the pie over the entire pie and find the circumference of the entire pie. Okay? The measure of arc AB divided by 360, piece of the pie over the whole pie, times the circumference of the whole pie, will give me the length of the piece of pie. All right, play with that bit. We'll come down just a little, and we'll take a look at letter A. What is the length of the arc shown in red? Okay, if the diameter of this circle, and by the way, it does say leave your answer in terms of pi on both of these next two. So if the diameter is 16, remember the diameter is twice the radius, that gives us a radius of 8. And to find this, my 2 pi r would be 2 pi times 8. That'd be the radius. Now to find this measure here, we got to go back, all the way back to our central angle and the measure of the arc, which is the same as the measure of the central angle. Well, the measure of my central angle right here is 90 degrees, which means that the measure, sorry about that, we will take that back, the measure of arc xy is also 90 degrees. So we're going to take 90 over 360. Okay, what is 90 over 360? Not a very good 360 there. What is 90 over 360? 1/4. So if we take 1/4 times 2 pi r, or 2 pi 8, which would be 16 pi, that'd be 1/4 times 16 pi, which is 4 pi. And it said to leave our answer in pi. There we go. To do the same on the second one. This time the radius is given up here, 15 centimeters, and we have this major arc. Okay, this was a minor arc. It was 90 degrees. This one down here is a major arc, and it verifies that by the degree value, 240 degrees. So we will take our 240 over 360, just following the formula. Okay, 240 over 360 times 2 pi times 15, which is 30 pi. Okay, we can cancel that out. The zeros will cancel. And 24 over 36, divide them by 12s, you're going to get 2/3. 2/3 times 30 pi gives me 60 pi over 3, or 20 pi. And again, it said to leave our answer in terms of pi. Now, the only thing I did wrong up above, you can't see it now. Ooh. Sorry. The only thing that I did wrong was I forgot to put my units. We'll get there eventually. Quite a bit scrolled up there. Okay, I forgot to put my units here, and up above the units was in inches, and down here the units are in centimeters. So 20 pi centimeters. All right, here's where you're supposed to do it. So, what is the length of a semicircle? All right, try to draw a circle. Yeah, that's my potato head here. All right, and the radius, 1.3 meters from the center out to the circle. What's the length of the semicircle? Well, what is a semicircle? It's half a circle, right? So it's 180 degrees over the 360 if we're following our formula. The degrees will cancel. Times 2 pi times 1.3 meters. Okay, which is 2.6 pi meters times, well, that's a half. 2 times 6 is 12 pi. And what's half times 12 pi? That would be 6 pi. And it said again to leave your answer in terms of pi, so 6 pi meters is my answer there. Okay, thank you for listening on that. Take a glance at this last slide and answer the questions if you can to kind of check yourself on what we've just learned today. Your homework will be in Math Excel. Hope you're having a good week. Take care. See ya.